Hello everyone, welcome to Studybuzz. This is Nikita and I'm thrilled to share this new video with you to make your verbal section much easier. But before we delve into today's content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow us on our Instagram channel and press bell icon to receive important videos updates. You can also follow us on our Instagram channel, which is studybuzz_education, and the other handles as is mentioned on your screen. You can also download our app, which is also given on the screen. Now let's move on to the video. So people, today we are going to focus on parajumbles. Parajumbles is a very common type of question that is asked in MBA entrance examinations. From this topic, you can easily get somewhere around 2 to 4 questions in each and every examination. It does not matter if it is CAT, MAT, ZAT, SNAP, whichever examination you apply for, you can expect parajumbles in them, right? So they are extremely important. They form a very nice chunk of your verbal section. Hence, they impact your scores quite a lot, which makes them very important again. So, parajumbles, they test your ability to understand and organize a given set of sentences into a coherent and logical sequence, right? This means that for these kind of questions, what will happen is they will take a paragraph, break it down into sentences, and then jumble those sentences up and give it to you as a question. Your work here is to identify which sentence goes where, in what sequence you have to rearrange the sentences so that you can form a coherent and logically sound paragraph, right? Now, this is how all of the questions work in this particular section of parajumbles. But the questions can be formed in various different manners. Questions can be formed of 4, 5 or 6 sentences, as in the paragraph could be divided into 4, 5 or 6 sentences jumbled up, and then you have to mark the correct answer. It is also possible that you could get fixed sentences in it, as in, for example, if there are 6 sentences given to you, in them the first and the last sentence will be in the correct order and the 4 sentences in the middle will be jumbled up. You have to rearrange them. It is also possible that only one sentence is fixed and the rest are jumbled up, right? It is also possible to form them in odd one out manner, which means that, for example, if you are given 5 sentences in the question, they will say that out of 5, 4 can be used to form a coherent paragraph and 1 is the odd one out. So they might ask you to identify this one and mark it as an answer, or they might also ask you to rearrange these 4 correctly and then tell the odd one out, right? This is also possible. So these are some of the general ways in which parajumbles can be formed in the questions in the examinations, and this makes it even more exciting to learn. Now, apart from these differences, there also exists the difference of objective and subjective kind of question. Objective means it will be MCQ format. You will have sentences, then options, you have to choose your answer from there, which is the common format followed in almost all examinations. In subjective, we are referring to theta based questions, which means you will not be given an answer, you will not be given an option to choose your answer for. Rather, you will be provided with the question and the space to fill in your own answer. This is unique to CAT, and we will have a separate class discussing this, right? So let's focus here today. Now that we know how to look for these questions, what kind of questions you will be able to get in this one, what kind of formats are there, let's look through and see how to approach these questions, right? Let's understand the approach for such questions. Now, we are talking about approach. We are not talking about ways of solving them, right? We are not talking about solution. We are talking about approach, which means that each and every question is very different and it requires different ways. You need to adapt to the question accordingly. You can use various different approaches in tandem at the same time, so that you can get your answer correctly. Let's see what are these approaches. The two main approaches that we can look for is the keyword approach, is where you identify specific key terms. You need to identify specific key terms. Sentences are made up of words, so you use specific key terms to apply whatever grammatical rule that you know, that you can use to form the links, or whatever language usage rules you can figure out to apply there and form the links between the sentences, right? What kind of things can we do? For example, we can use the noun pronoun rule. As in, whenever we have two sentences in the questions given to us, and one has a noun, one has a pronoun, you should be able to figure out that noun sentence will come before the pronoun sentence, right? So this is what we mean by noun pronoun sentences. Now, apart from the noun pronoun rule, there also exists the words which are called demonstrative adjectives. These are the words like that, this, those, right? When they are used before pronoun, they can be used to point to something or to create links between the words, right? So using that information, we can link them to the other sentences and find our answers. Apart from that, there also exist conjunctions. Usually the sentences that starts with the conjunctions are not the opening statements, right? This is one of the most common knowledge, so you can also remember that for solving the questions. Apart from that, conjunctions can also be basically divided into contrasting conjunctions and non-contrasting conjunctions. As in, conjunctions are used to join the ideas together, join the sentences together. If we use contrasting conjunctions like although, yet, but, right? These kind. If we use these kind of conjunctions, then we will be easily able to figure out that the ideas they are joining are supposed to be somehow in contrast with each other. They are not going to be complementing each other, right? So we can look for the sentence which provides the contrasting idea and then join it with the sentence that has this particular conjunction in it. However, if there is a conjunction which uses like because, so, and, right, in that case we can very clearly identify that we are looking for sentence which complements or which continues that particular idea or provides explanation for that idea. So we can find out the sentence accordingly and join it, right? So this will help us in forming the sentences in the coherent order. Apart from this, another extremely important thing that we can use is chronological terms. These are the terms that help us identify the sequence of events, in what sequence some events happened, right? The words like ago, now, before, then, later, right? So they provide us with time sequence, so we can use that to form a broad idea and then arrange the sentences accordingly, right? Now these are just some examples to make you understand that key terms can be used in this manner. The things that you already know for the grammar, for the language usage, can be used in this manner for this particular topic. Now moving on to the structural approach. This one is much more abstract as compared to the keyword one, because keyword was depending upon the rules which are hard and fast that you already know. Structural one actually depends upon the information which is provided to you in the sentences. So you're not looking for the words, but you're looking for the meaning of the entire sentence and then using your logic on that to draw inferences and link the sentences together. In this one, we try to group similar sentences together, as in the similar content and information together, right? So we try and find out what two sentences are talking about same kind of thing. Maybe there are two different examples given, so they will be coming together, right? Or maybe there is a general theory and an example or evidence provided for that, they will be coming together. So we are looking for continuation of the sentence in the entire meaning, right? This is what we mean here. Then a lot of times what happens is, how one sentence ends is how another sentence starts, right? Logically saying, the sentences a lot of time they result in direct continuation of the idea which was presented in the towards the end of a sentence was continued in the starting of another sentence. If we can figure that out, we can use that to link the two sentences together and then mark the ideas, mark the sentences, right? In this one, in the structure approach, we also try and find the opening statement and the closing statement so that we can build upon it, right? Now, apart from that, apart from all of this, what we also focus on, in whatever way you approach, we focus on finding the mandatory pairs. Mandatory pairs are those pairs of sentences which no matter what happens, they will always go together. If you are able to find out that if there are like these four sentences which are given to you, A, B, C, D, and you find out that D and C, D talks about something and then C is the direct continuation of it. So you know that these two, whatever answer you choose, these two are going to come together. So this becomes the mandatory pair. You can use it to eliminate as well. Whatever option does not have D and C together, you can directly eliminate that and it will help you solve the question easily and more quickly, right? So mandatory pair becomes another important point for us to approach the questions. Then apart from that, there exists one rule, which is general to specific rule, which means that the flow of information has to be from the general to specifics. First the introductory one will come and then the specific information will come. This is what we mean here. This is the only rule that exists in the Parajumbles, so we must always pay attention to it. Now this was all that we need for the concepts. Let's move on and try to solve one question so that we can have some idea of how these questions work. This is a previous year ZAT question. So please pause the video and try to solve this. Right, so let's look at this question and see how many of us got the correct answers. Now, let's look at first sentence. It says, back then they were owned by companies and installed on their premises. So, what is this they that we are talking about? Remember, noun, pronoun. Because of that, we need something which can come before and identify this they. So, A could not be the opening statement. If A could not be the opening statement, we can very directly cut this out from the options, right? Let's look at it. Rooms and servers began to replace computer mainframes in 90s. Now, we do not need any prior information to understand this. This is introductory enough, this is general enough. So, there is a very high possibility of B being opening statement. Let's keep it aside. Now, if I look through the options, only B and E can be the opening statements, right? So, let's look at E as well. Things started to change once again. Now, it says once again. It says once again, which means something has changed before, right? So we need another piece of information which shows change before this once again. So E cannot be the opening statement, which means I can directly again cut out E options, right? How nice. Also it says once again around a decade ago. So a decade ago from today, right? Now just looking through it, we have 90s in this B sentence, we have mid 2000s here, and then we have a decade ago from today, right? So if I rearrange them, then this a decade ago should come towards the end. It cannot come before these two things, right? Chronology. Remember time sequencing. Based on this, I can vaguely say that this is going to be the answer, right? Because E comes here. But still, let's look through it. Now it says these were supplemented. So it says supplemented. Supplemented means they were helped, right? These were supplemented by processors from Intel. So for something to supplement, there has to be a main component, right? So we need another information. They were supplemented by processors from Intel, which by mid 2000s translated its dominance of PC. Yes, semiconductors into a near monopoly of the server market. Then D says they mostly ran on chips made by IBM and HP, the big tech of the day. See, they were supported by processors, and here they ran on chips. So they are talking about the same kind of content. Also, here they are supplementing, here they are run on it. So by default, logically speaking, we can say that D and C are mandatory pair in this order, right? So which one contains D and C in this order? This one contains D and C, so we can very easily mark this as an answer, right? So we have B, D and C. Now does A follow? Back then they were owned. What is this they? It can be this, right? Rooms and servers began to replace computer mainframes. So, and they were owned by companies and installed on their premises. Makes complete sense, right? This they is rooms and servers. So we become BA. Now, because of chronology, we can also put E here. So, answer becomes BADCE. This becomes our answer. Now see, you must have noticed that we did not actually pay attention to a lot of information here. We simply used the links in the logical manner. This also helps us to skirt away from distractions and being confused in various different options, right? This is also one way that we can use to eliminate the answers, eliminate the answer options and work more accurately and efficiently. I hope this was clear to you. Hope this was good. All the best. See you next time.